That I know that you help your clients recover in states. What is it? What is the state, and what are you doing?
Yulia, a state, for example, is something, it's a natural state. It's something that you are born with. Like, for example, we all know what it feels like to be happy. We all know what it feels like to have a moment of gratitude. But these states are natural. It's part of our natural biology. But these states actually become suppressed either due to trauma, stress that was experienced during your childhood, and to really get a bit scientific and technical here, these states can also become suppressed during conception and birth trauma and womb trauma.
I see.
So when you heal specific points in this journey of being born and the conception and in your childhood, these states, these beautiful natural states, can be recovered. And once these states are recovered, it's a beautiful state that's always there. It's always a state of happiness. It's always a state of gratitude. There's always a state of being present. There's always a state of feeling very balanced, feeling very coherent within yourself. And these states is something that's natural to you. It's something that you already have. It's not something that you can go look for outside of yourself. It's natural to you, but they do become suppressed due to trauma and stress. And when the stress and this trauma is resolved, these beautiful states really gently start to come back, and they stay. It's almost like what I like to describe to my clients, like figure of speech. It's like beautiful classical music always playing in the background. You're always aware of this beautiful state. And even though you can get upset or angry and you feel like you temporarily lost your state, because the state's always there, you do immediately come much quicker back to that natural state. And I find what's really beautiful about the states, about recovering your states, is that it really improves, greatly actually improves your quality of life, because it brings you to the present moment. It keeps you coherent. It keeps you balanced. It really helps you to see things for what they are and not from a traumatized perspective, because trauma and stress really shapes the way that you see your life. You really filter out all the good things that are in your life. And the more that trauma and that stress is resolved, the more this filter starts to open up. And it's like seeing a whole new world that is out there.
Wow.
It absolutely is beautiful, it's wonderful, and it's natural to you. You know, and I love that, because it's not something that you can find outside of yourself. It's something that you already have. And that's why I say it's recovering states. It's not about programming yourself. It's not about finding it. It's about recovering it. And having that quality of life, you know, really feeling that authentic part of you, that authentic identity. Like, it's almost like returning to that blueprint point of what you would be like if you didn't experience trauma.
You know, it sounds very amazing, but
yes,
it sounds very, like, magical.
Yes.
Is there any magic in it?
No. There's no magic in it. It's just really understanding where the trauma points are and where the blocks are, and lifting and dissolving those trauma points so that these beautiful states just can come back into your life again, just recovering them so that they can be part of your everyday life. Because yes, there are moments where you have happiness. There are moments where you have gratitude. But what if you can always have that? What if you can always be in that state?
Wow, sounds...
That would be amazing. But here's the important part that people, what I feel also really need to emphasize with my clients and students, is that a state is not something where, let's use the gratitude state as an example. You know, it's not something where you're going to drop to your knees and you can say, "Oh, thank God I'm alive." You know, having this really outrageous state of gratitude, because to me that is still coming from a place of a little bit of trauma, and I call that positive trauma. Okay, trauma can sometimes,
it's also going to be...
yes, so trauma can sometimes surface in different ways. It can be negative or it can be positive. A state for me is a state of calmness. State is something where you are calm, you're feeling the sense of humbleness, you can feel that sense of gratitude, you can feel that sense of inner balance, you can feel that sense of being present and feeling coherent, but it's a calm state. I believe that the human body was designed to be in a humble and calm state, because if the human body was designed to be in this stressful states and being from one extreme emotion to another, up and down, then we wouldn't have all these illnesses.
That's true.
You see, the body is designed to be in a calm state, to be humble, to always feel peaceful. And because of our lifestyle, because of society, it's hard to always achieve that. But when you have that state, it's so much easier to have that quality of life. It's so much easier to stay in that state, have your moments, but you always return back to that state, which means it's much easier for you to get back to that good quality of life.
Okay.
So that's my definition of states.
I have a tricky question.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Please, go for it.
Okay, we all know about karma.
Yes.
And you're a Christian, I'm a Buddhist.
Yes.
And I'm also thinking about karma and all this stuff. Like, for example, I should go through certain circumstances. I'm here for certain purpose, and I should meet certain people to go through karma and to clean it and do something.
Of course.
And if you help me clean that state or clean some traumas, is it affecting somehow on karma, or is it helping? Do you have your point of view on this?
I have been asked that question, and my personal opinion on that is that we can come to earth, we can have our experiences, but we always have the power of choice how we experience that. You can still have the learnings and the experiences and the teachings that you need to have, but why do you need to have that in a traumatic and dramatic way if you can have your natural states, which is natural to you, it's part of the biology, if you can have those states and still have this experience and learnings, but in a much more humble and graceful way? Because when you're in this calm state, it's much easier to actually understand and get the learning that you needed to have from that experience and say, okay, right, you know what, this is what happened. I can really see why this happened to me, and I can take it with pride now and say, okay, I'm going to move forward from this, and I'm going to learn from this, and I needed to learn X, Y, Z, and actually move forward from that, instead of getting stuck in a state of resentment and anger and wanting to take revenge. Why not have these wonderful states, have these experiences, have these learnings and teachings, and move on from that?
That's nice.
So that really is my perspective from that. It doesn't take away your karma, it doesn't take away the teachings that you need to have, but it really gives you a sense of empowerment of how you are going to deal with it. How are you going to move forward from that? Are you going to become a victim of these circumstances, or are you going to go and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to take that on the shoulder, this is what happened to me, I learned from it, I experienced it, this is how I can change my life after this experience. Yes. And do that in a very graceful and humble way, and not having simmering in resentment or in anger, which robs you of your quality of life. And again, that brings me back to state work, just really improving your quality of life.